It's not that people don't like classical music, it's that they don't have the chance to understand and to experience it. Going to a concert can sometimes be very difficult. It can be a long journey, there's the ticket prices. But when the music goes to the community, not the community coming to the concert, they say, "Wow, I didn't know that this music was so amazing." Ever since its rise to popularity during the Renaissance, Western classical music has been considered an accessory for the elites, with royalty, aristocracy, and even the modern wealthy classes using its symbol of wealth and opulence. There's a long-standing debate on whether or not classical music is designed to be exclusive to the educated. Personally, I don't believe it. Just advertising as such to popular culture, which leads to a context of elitism around it. Walt Disney, arguably the face of American popular culture, grew up outside of the highbrow world. His father, Elias, was a farmer and a failed businessman, with strong socialist views that criticized any class divide. Knowing this, you could say Disney's third feature, Fantasia, must have been a reaction against elitism and an opportunity for a new mass audience to enjoy classical music. But what if Fantasia wasn't a bridge for the American public to access previously elitist music, but for Walt Disney Animation Studios to access the elite itself? And if so, did this picture really help him achieve this? Fantasia began development just a year before the Second World War broke out, as if the idea alone wasn't ambitious enough. To elegantly craft together a series of animations inspired by classical pieces was a novel concept in itself, and one that the mass audience weren't quite expecting from a young Disney Studios. It stemmed from early conversations with conductor Leopold Stokowski. If anyone could bridge the cultural gap, it was him. Stokowski rejected a lot of traditional conducting customs. He was a showman, innovative, not unlike Walt Disney. During production, they bonded well, but Disney's disconnection from classical music customs was clear, even for a modern mind like Stokowski. Disney couldn't fully commit to the standard that conductors like Stokowski set for high art music, but while he was mostly friendly with Stokowski, he wasn't entertained as much by composer Igor Stravinsky, who resented the alterations made to the original score of The Rite of Spring. Stravinsky noticed that the instrumentation was different, the order of pieces rearranged, and the difficult passages removed altogether. Disney had one foot in high culture and one in the commercial American world. And having grown up in the latter, he knew he had to make artistic compromises just to cater to a pretty high-pressure audience. On its release in 1940, Fantasia was received with mixed reviews, with positive and negative critics in both the commercial public and the classical world. Many applauded the advanced sound system used to replicate a live orchestra, while others were appalled by the content. One columnist, Dorothy Thompson, went as far as calling the film cruel, brutal and brutalizing, and a caricature of the decline of the West. Ironically, I can't help but be reminded of Stravinsky's premiere for The Rite of Spring in 1913, which ended in an actual theatre riot. While Fantasia is now praised by modern critics as one of the greatest films in Disney's history, the public at the time expected more of Snow White and Pinocchio, probably why the studio didn't make another Fantasia until 60 years later. So why was it really made? Disney and Stokowski both sought out to build a valuable bridge. Stokowski was looking for a popularity from a new, much larger audience, while Disney hoped he could shift animation as an art form to a more revered cultural status. His worry was that if he couldn't make the connection, animation was doomed. The worry made him tense and unsure, calling the classical music critics
little tin gods who reserve the right to tell us what we must do,
and doubting himself.
Every time I've made a mistake is when I went in a direction where I didn't feel the thing, actually. And I did try to be a little smarty pants.
He felt a sense of duty to heightening the rank of animation as an art form, so much so that he would lead himself into a world where, as hard as he'd try to pretend, he'd never truly belong. Without question, Walt Disney and his team redefined American culture and animation as an art form. Fantasia took a traditionally elitist music and combined it with Disney's vibrant, playful, exciting animation style. It's grossed a total of $76.4 million in domestic revenue. The movie didn't bring Disney any closer to the elite status he desired for his studio, but it did provide a lasting bridge to classical music for the world. And looking at how far animation has come, these early risks opened the door to innovation and collaboration for the decades that followed.